Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. I'm here with Ray.
Hi guys.
What we're going to do is just do a quick video and catch up on last night's game. Obviously, Everton versus City. Everton 0, City 2. What I'll do is just quickly go through the team that was announced and ask your thoughts on that. Obviously, Ederson was in net. Walker right back. Stones and Otamendi. Laporte again playing sort of on the left side. Fernandinho holding. Then we had David Silva and Gundogan slightly ahead of Ferner. Then we had Bernardo Silva actually played out on the right-hand side. Sergio Aguero kept his place, and Leroy Sané came in for Raheem Sterling. So, what were your thoughts on the squad?
On the team that was out. Yeah. Well, I think obviously it was probably a surprise to most of us that Laporte came in at left back, and I don't know, if Danilo had been lost a bit of confidence of Pep, because since he's come back from injury, playing at right back and then at left back, most of the time, he's been pretty good. And in fact, I think he's been better than Kyle Walker on the right. So it was a bit of a surprise that Danilo didn't get that left back, but he's had a couple of, I think you'll say it yourself, iffy games, as has the team a little bit, but he's had more iffy than most. So Laporte coming on the left, I thought we'd seen the last of that, but he's a good player. He's a quality player, and he can play that on the left or at centre back, and he's pretty good at both of them.
To be fair, I mean, Danilo had a shocker against Newcastle.
Yeah,
he had, I mean, it was all of them have on occasions crap games, but Danilo in particular had a real shocker.
When he came back into the team, he was like this. He went an upward curve, going up, and then he started to come down. And then the last game, he dropped a lot. So maybe he's had too many games too soon, mental fatigue. Who knows what the reason is? Complacency. Who knows? So I can understand why he got dropped. And then I think I heard something about playing two defensively minded midfielders, where Fernandinho is your proper defensive midfielder, and Gundogan is kind of half and half defensive and half attacking. Pop them along David Silva. You should have pretty good all in the midfield. Then up front, kind of what you expected. Rest Sterling, who played the last game, bring in Leroy, who didn't play the last game, and leave Sergio up top because he's the best striker in the country. So can't complain. I mean, it was already rumoured that Kevin would be left out and he'd be given a rest. And I think, on reflection, you think that's right, because if you picked one game that you want Kevin to start between Everton and Chelsea, you pick Chelsea. And you'd hope and you'd expect, to be honest, that we'd had more than enough on that pitch to get the 3 points against Everton. So I'm quite happy with that.
Well, I was pleased to see Bernardo keep his place, because I mean, I think it's the stats have come out today that in the Premier League this season he's run further by 1-2 kilometres more than anyone else. That includes Declan Rice and many others. And again, he put in a massive shift last night. So my overall thoughts on certainly the team selection. I was pleased to see Sané come back in and give Sterling a bit of a rest. So I was quite happy with the team prior to the game. Getting into the game, I was 10-15 minutes late.
How about getting into the ground?
Yeah, 10-15 minutes before somebody rang me to say, "Oh, I'm in the ground and I've got a ticket." And I sent a kid outside for it, and after waiting for an hour to get the ticket. But anyway, I missed the first sort of 10-12 minutes of the game, but got up there. The atmosphere was already rocking. I mean, it was just bouncing. One of those old stadiums where everyone is packed in. I mean, I was stood on the stairwell right at the very back in the top left-hand corner, and the songs were going non-stop. It was brilliant. But the view was absolutely garbage. I thought the view was crap in Lyon with the netting and everything. But It was just posts and the girders coming down the stanchion, the top of the stanchion. Everyone was sort of like leaning down, trying to see the other side of the pitch in the first half, and trying to, it was a nightmare. But that's traditional old stadiums, I guess.
I mean, it'd be nice when they move. I mean, I went to Everton a few times when I lived in Liverpool for my sins, and it was that you had to be either short like me or bend your neck to try and get the look. And it's one of those things. It's nice to go to these old stadiums that have got history, a lot of history and character.
Yeah.
But especially for away fans, the views are terrible. I mean, Anfield was the same.
Yeah.
You're right at the back, and you couldn't even see half the pitch, and then you had pillars there, restricted views, all sorts. So,
I mean, it was even look down, and I was stood on the stairwell at the very, very top. It's a wooden floor, and I'm thinking, huh? Yeah. It's actually wooden, and you're thinking after everything that happened at Bradford. But anyway, the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. We were crammed in, and it was brilliant. But onto the game itself, like I said, I missed the first. I can't comment on the first sort of 12, 15 minutes. I got in just after 8 o'clock. I got in and ran up the stairwell. Didn't even get anywhere near where I'm supposed to start. I just stood at the very top with all the fans, and we were very pragmatic. We kept the ball. We didn't create a great deal. There were a couple of incidents. I think Leroy Sané's shot just wide, and I'm only going back. I watched the game or the highlights. I watched the highlights and today when I got back. But we had that, and then Laporte had that chance. Which just went wide, which he should have done better with. Actually, looking back, he should have scored it.
I mean, as an aside, we've got to mention Jordan Pickford because he was poor again. I mean, he made a couple of bad errors.
He made a couple of good saves. I mean, like I said, I only saw when I got back on tonight. I only saw the replay, and he made that great one-handed save from David Silva, I think it was. But he was not great.
He looked shaky, ordinary, average, and it's like the best he's been in the last 18 months was at the World Cup, where he was pretty amazing. But he was poor. You can't come out and miss them. And he did a couple of them, or being decisive. And there's been a lot that this season from Jordan. And so, for his sake, I think he has ideas up because, if he keeps going for much longer, then I'm not saying he's going to lose his place as England's current number one, but you can't keep making bad decisions like that and then expect to get picked in major tournaments.
Yeah, I agree. But that ball came over, and from where I was stood at the other side of the stadium, it looked like it was in. It wasn't. But not long after, we got to the goal, which was Laporte's goal from a free kick. And it was literally 2 minutes into, 1 minute into extra time.
Of a minute.
I think there was literally seconds to go. We got that free kick.
I think there was a minute of injury time.
Yeah, it came up 1 minute. Yeah. So I think by the time they took it, it drifted into the second minute. But a great cross from David Silva, and what a bullet header! Absolutely brilliant by Laporte. I mean, how many times has he done that this season?
Well, was it the last game where he had another one where he was offside, and he came absolutely. I couldn't kick that ball harder than he headed it. He absolutely put his head through it. Yeah. He's got a couple of goals this season for us, and it's great when your defenders can score goals. I remember last season we got a lot of goals from our centre backs when Otamendi scored a few. Great just watching him do his general salute or whatever after he scored. Stone scored a few goals from centre-back. It was quite interesting in Europe. He had more goals in Europe than the main strikers from other teams that you could mention. So it's just, I think we've been missing that a little bit because we used to be very dangerous from corners and free. And hopefully we're getting some of that back and we'll score more goals using our defenders.
So took us to our time. I went down. If you see the videos, it was bouncing around the bar area. I mean, it was song after song after song. It was a brilliant atmosphere, as it always is when you go away from home. Into the second half, I was quite surprised. Leroy Sané came off on 59 minutes for Raheem Sterling. I thought he had a poor game, if I'm honest. I'll be blunt with you. I've not seen him have a poorer game as he did last night.
I made a comment to Dean from DZ Football. We were talking about Mahrez because Mahrez didn't even get on the, and I said I'm really surprised because Sané had a shocking game. That was my comment. He didn't play the last game. He was rested, and he had a shocking game. To be pulled off before an hour's up, you know, his close control wasn't like it should be.
Yeah,
should be his decision making. He was offside so many times.
I think that was the frustrating thing for us in the stadium. It was from what we could see in the first half, thinking what a great ball that was, and then it was like, oh, whistle's gone. What? He's not offside again, is he? And it was just time and time again.
The thing is, he wasn't offside by much, but you'd think he's got the pace, so he doesn't need to be offside. You know, and maybe it's the timing. It's his fault, the timing of his run, or the pass hasn't come through properly. Because I don't think David Silva was up to his best, and that was another disappointment for me. Because normally his passes are inch perfect at the right moment, and he'll delay it just a little, but he'll make sure Sané's still onside. And I think that's been the hallmark of this season. So it was disappointing that the pair of them just didn't really do it. And I thought he was lucky to even get to 58 minutes.
Yeah, it's reading some stuff when I got home tonight. He didn't seem too happy about being subbed. But at the end of the day, like I said, he was rested for the game against Arsenal, and he's come in last night. And just you want players to basically sort of say, right, okay, I'll prove you that I'm going to start against Chelsea. And I'll be honest with you, he'll be lucky if he does start against Chelsea the weekend, because his touch was awful. He was constantly offside. Apart from that shot, his first-time balls were poor.
Yeah. I mean, there was
maybe it's just one of those games. Maybe he's going through this patch now at this stage of the season where we know we've seen it before. His head can drop. He can go. He can sulk.
Yeah, we need him firing, and he should be firing. He's a year older than last season. You'd expect him to be more mature. He's a father now. That should all help with his maturity and hopefully his decision making. And I was also talking with Dean, and I said, when Kevin De Bruyne was injured, we were talking about Mahrez, I'll mention him. I said, Mahrez's issue, earlier in the season when Kevin De Bruyne was injured, Mahrez, we had 6 midfielders or wingers for 4 spots. So Mahrez was getting a little bit of game time here and there. Now Kevin's back. Really difficult for Mahrez to get in that team because you've got Gundogan playing out of his skin. You've got David Silva there. You've got KDB. You've got Bernardo Silva, Sterling and Sané. And the same can apply to Sané. You don't pull your finger out. I mean, there's nothing to stop Pep next game having Bernardo on the left and Sané's see you later, mate.
Well, that's. I mean, I was watching obviously the game live and seeing Bernardo Silva run and chase down and tackle, and I mean his effort was absolutely incredible. I mean, 3 or 4 times he ran into the corner, chased balls down that he should never have got, and actually ended up winning a throw-in for City. I mean, he was absolutely brilliant. And that's the type of effort we want from Leroy Sané.
That's definitely what the fans want to see from the players.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised if Pep doesn't want to see that either. And Bernardo, you very rarely see him drop his head. He always wants to be involved, chase the ball, get the ball, run with it, pass it, cross it, shoot, do whatever he can. And Sané really, he needs to up his game because when Sterling came on, Sterling threatened.
Yeah.
Sané should have threatened.
I mean, when the substitution was made, obviously everyone's singing Sané's name, and we don't want to slag players off and that, but we're going to call and be objective about player performance. But when Sterling came on, there was like this sudden lift. And you could feel that every time he got the ball, he was willing to try and take players on. He was playing 1-2s and he was getting in dangerous areas. And that is what Leroy's. He needs to look at what Raheem's done over the last 2 years and go, I know he had a great season. I really do. But he's become too inconsistent over the last 2-3 months. And yes, we've seen him chase players back 40 yards, but that's fine doing it in one game. You've got to do that all the time, like Bernardo and Raheem does.
He's inconsistent within a game. He doesn't do it all the time. Normally, when you see him chasing back, it's because he's in a foul mood. Maybe he felt he was fouled or pushed, or he deserved. And usually, it's because he's angry. That stimulates him. That gets his adrenaline going, and he's pumped up, and he'll really put the effort in. Other times, he'll lose the ball, and he'll not bother. Or if the ball's kicked too far ahead, he won't chase it. Yeah. And he downs tools. When I played football, I always say this at a lower level, you never give up on anything. You never know what's going to happen, and you would chase and chase and chase. And he just gives up, I think, far too easily.
Or maybe Pep will need to get into his ear, and I'm sure Pep will be having words with him. And by all reports, if he said something to Guardiola when he came off, I'm sure Pep will sort that out one way or the other. So anyway, Sterling came on. Game sort of changed. Second half, we were pretty dominant, apart from one or two crosses and efforts.
Moments. Everton had the most.
They had like 2, 3, 4 minute spells of possession, but other than that,
I think they had some good crosses, or they had some good opportunities. Theo Walcott wasted a lot of them.
Oh, he was awful.
I think he had one decent cross that I can remember. Davis was all right. He was working very hard. They had moments. They didn't have good clear-cut chances, but they did have moments in and around, not much in our box, around our box. But they did lack creativity. I mean, Sigurdsson starting on the bench. Torsten, big fella, he started on the bench. Richarlison started on the bench. And when actually Richarlison came on, he gave Walker a few problems.
Yeah.
Putting inside.
I mean, on the thing with Walker, I know he's been in and out of form, and we spoke about it on hundreds of occasions about, is he tired, is he this, is that. Again, last night, in the crowd, sensing the crowd, he made 2 or 3 sort of like ricks and errors, and there was one particular part of the play where the ball came across. It was in the first half. Yeah, it was in the first half because he was in front of us on the pitch, and it came up in the air, and I don't know whether it was John Stones and him, but I mean, he was literally the one who should have been just going challenging the player. And he stood back and let him have a complete free touch of the ball, take it down. It came to nothing, but then there was this massive Barney between Stones having a right go at Walker. Yeah. Walker trying to tell Stones it should have been you, which it wasn't. Stones was 20 yards away. Walker was 5 yards away. And there was this miscommunication. The pair of them were having an absolute full-on, go at each other. And again, I don't know. He did some great things, but he also, switching off again. I don't know what's going to happen next season with him. I really don't.
I would say with Pickford, you make 2 glaring errors like he did, and you can see 2 goals. It doesn't matter if you're brilliant and make 10 world-class saves. If you've made 2 basic errors and they've scored, the game's gone. And it's the same with Walker. I mean, we've seen it, I think, far too often this season. We saw it a few times last season. We saw it for England, where as City fans, we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's natural. But if if we weren't City fans, we'd probably pasted him a bit, given him some pelters.
Yeah,
decisions he's made, that penalty, ridiculous, and another mistake that led to a goal. You make big mistakes on a big stage. If let's say he put that performance in against Barcelona and we'd gone out of the Champions League semi-final, do you think he'd be playing next season?
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'd still rather him be our centre back than anyone else, even Danilo. If I'm honest with you, I think he just needs he just needs. He's just going through a spell where he's making the wrong decisions.
It's been a long spell, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying he's not, or he's gone over the top and he's on the decline. It may be that he just needs that big break to come back firing. But is he going to get it this summer with the Nations League? So it's going to be I think we can only tell next season really with Walker, unless he suddenly comes into great form. We'll only tell next season once he's had a good solid break.
Yeah. But anyway, into the second half, obviously said there was the swap with Sane and Sterling. Gabby came on for Aguero, who had done that wonderful overhead kick. We all, from where we were on this side, and he kicked it that way. We all thought he was in, and it was like, and we were literally wanting that second goal because, it was because we thought, 2-0 game over. 1-0, there's always the possibility of a freaky goal or anything happening. But Gabby came on. Thought Aguero did his usual stuff, run around all over the pitch, did really well. Gabby came on, and he straight away was all over the place, absolutely full on.
Yeah, it's what you want. It's what you want from him. And as we said in the recent past, it's like he's come back. He's got that smile, and he's given it what we want. He's like the player he was, say, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And he more than deserves to be in that squad and starting as well.
It was interesting. I saw on Twitter this afternoon at lunchtime, and Stephen Tudor had posted that it was his first game when he's been away where he's been right at the very front of a pitch side in an away game. And he said, you do see things differently. The pitch looks curved and bobbly and whatever. But one thing he did turn around and say is he saw something. And I remember the tackle. I didn't see what Aguero did, but I remember the tackle by Laporte. It was like a proper full-on blooded 50-50. And he went in. And he said, I immediately looked to Sergio Aguero, who was right in front of me. And he said, his fists were like, get in there, come on, And he was like, he said, no, you don't see that when sometimes you're high up or you're away from the pitch. He said, but it was like a real, come on, fighting spirit.
To the troops, like a rallying call to the troops.
Yeah, it was like, that's what we need. That's what, that type of tackle, come on.
Mate. You can see they're up for it, even if they're not playing well. And we weren't brilliant last night. There's no two ways about it.
Great.
But there's more grit, there's more steely determination to see tough games through.
You said those words, steely determination, and he sometimes gets a little bit of stick. But for me, I think that's what Otamendi brings. He brings that, he'll fly in, he'll do dirty stuff, he'll get his head on as many, he'll throw his head in there. Sometimes, he dives in just a little bit, but he's 100% in the game and trying to win every single nasty challenge, 50-50 that you want to win. And sometimes you need that.
You need it. And I think that's why we miss Vinny, because Vinny does the same.
Yeah.
But he's, on the whole, I think, a little less reckless than Nico.
Yeah.
But I think he's cleverer as well. So he won't have to dive in as much as Nico does. I think he's more subtle with how he plays. I'm desperate for him to come back to at least be available.
Well, I must admit, I'm a fan of Otamendi. I think he's underrated, and I think he's over abused by certain City sections. And yes, a couple of years ago he was. Oh my God! But I just think he's brought this intelligence, this maturity, especially playing alongside Laporte, who's only young John Stones.
It's that extra physicality.
Yeah, and that's what he brings. He brings proper, nastiness and aggressiveness that when Vinny's not there, I don't think we have with Stones and Laporte. It's all a little bit nice. I
thought it was because you liked his beard, mate.
I do like his beard, and I like his salute. So the general for me, I'm not going to have a bad word said about him. But anyway,
then the goal.
And well, prior to, I was just going to mention something. I've lost my train of thought there. But what I was going to say was, before the goal, looking at the stats overall, because the goal came right at the end. I mean, Everton had 39%, City had 61%. I mean, in the second half, it was very dominant. But one thing that I think everybody around us was saying was this extra touch on the edge of the area, inside the area, this extra. Somebody fucking shoot. First time, second time. Why have 2-3 passes? David Silva did it on 4 or 5 occasions.
Sterling did it a couple of times.
Yeah. Shoot.
You don't need to take 3 or 4 players on.
No.
Sometimes it's just get that shot off. And, it is frustrating when, when it comes off and you've taken 4 players on and scored, it's an absolute worldie. But most of the time that doesn't happen. So, sometimes you get players a bit greedy and trying to do too much themselves. It's trying to find that right balance. But last night was crying out for some extra shots.
Oh, I mean, honestly, it was the most frustrating thing of last night was the fact of I could say 10 occasions they got into around the box, cut inside, and you're thinking, hit it. And then it's like another touch. And then they hit it, and it was just blocked immediately. And you're thinking, somebody fucking put your foot through the ball and have a shot. Because how many goals have we scored? Look at Sergio's against Arsenal. Cross come over, keeper palmed it. He wins it, gets it in the goal through whatever means. How many times have we scored tap-ins from keeper palming it out this season? Last season? Loads. Yeah. I mean, just bloody hits it. And it's so...
If you don't shoot, you can't.
I mean, that was the frustrating thing, certainly, for me watching the whole game, or the games, the 85 minutes I saw. And then right at the end, we had KDB came on for David Silva on the 89th minute, and just straight away, boom, dominates the ball, keeps the possession rolling, moves the ball around, and then we had the 90-minute plus. I mean, when the 7 minutes came up, we were all like, "What?
Yeah,
7 minutes? Where's 7 minutes come from?" But 90 minutes, and in the 96th minute, we had the ball from Kevin De Bruyne to Gabby. I got it on film. I was trying to get my camera and I pressed record, and I looked, and luckily I looked and thought, it's not recording, and I pressed it again just as he was heading it over there. So luckily I got that out on Twitter last night, and on the videos that you put out late last night. But pleased for Gabby. Tried to think it over Pickford, but was still there again.
Yeah,
little flick, goal. Crowd went absolutely mental.
In the videos, mate, the crowd went berserk, And as I said last night, there's nothing beats being at the game, especially home or away, especially away, at moments like that. When I mean, I was there.
Yeah, the Southampton game, the Gabby Jesus.
I was just going to say, I told you at the time, I filmed a lot of that game, and when the ball got, I think, hit out from their defence, and there was like seconds to go, I turned my camera off. I was saving the battery. And as soon as I turned it off, De Bruyne popped it through to Gabby, and he scored. And by the time I turned it back on, the ball was in the net. But actually, I'll be honest, there's a bit of a difference between a tourist who's just filming it. I was in the moment. So as soon as it was knocked forward to Gabby, I wasn't thinking to get my phone out to get the picture.
Yeah.
I was, on the edge of I was standing up already, but I was on the edge of the step. And as soon as it went in, we went ballistic, which is why I missed the first 10 seconds of the celebrations.
It was getting towards the end of the game, and I'm thinking, we put 1 or 2 balls in, and I just thought, it'd be great if we got a second goal, and, and it was right at the end, and the crowd started singing, and the atmosphere was going, so I thought, I'll just flick it on, just in case, and I just held it, and then luckily the ball was played across, and I looked at my phone rather than watch the game, and I thought, it's not even recording. I clicked it just as he was about to head it in. I was thinking, Jesus, if I would have missed that, with then what happened afterwards, it was brilliant.
Like I said, there's nothing beats being at the game. Most of you guys know that I was living in France last year, and even though I was a season ticket holder, you can't get to every game, and you'd only go to, I probably went to about 12, 15 games last season. And I saw the games on TV and whatever. But it's the ones you remember. The ones I remember are things like that. Something.
Yeah.
The game against Arsenal, when you're there live in the Carabao Cup final, and that's the kind of thing you remember. So there's now beats being at the game. We can all sit at home, watch it on TV, and you get a feeling, but you don't get that electric atmosphere surrounded by 2,000 or 3,000 City fans who are all really in the moment. If anybody can get to away games, if you ever get offered a ticket, it doesn't matter what the game is, because it's going to be a great occasion. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a great evening.
Yeah, the City fans, as we know, they're brilliant when they go away. We've moaned about the home sort of like atmosphere, though we've proven it against. Sorry, 1 second. It's always the same. We've proven it when we've. Liverpool, we've proven that the atmosphere. But when you go away, it's like this like group of individuals that come together as a unit, and it's just bouncing.
I think one of the big differences is when they go away, there's 3,000 fans, let's say, and they're all singing pretty much all the way through the game, all in one area. And if the home fans are quiet, that's what you hear. You hear the City fans. You always hear the City fans. At home games, those 3,000 people might be dispersed all over the place.
Yeah.
You don't get that concentration of the singing and chanting and whatever, and it's just a lot quieter game. So but it's a great atmosphere, great feeling, and a wonderful occasion, great times.
Yeah, well, it was last night. I must admit, it was great to be there. Atmosphere was superb again. Every time we go away, it's brilliant. The fans are absolutely amazing, even at half time around the bar. But overall, so stats, like I said, 61% possession. Yeah, City, 15 shots against Everton's 4. City 4 on target to 1 of Everton. It was a pretty domineering display. Overall, any standout sort of players? I don't think we'll go through every player rating, but any sort of standout players for you last night?
Bernardo played well. No question about that. Laporte, great goal. Generally, he's slightly out of position, but he played well. Stonesy, I think he did all right overall. And generally,
good to see John Stones at the end. He went over as he was walking off the Gladys Street end. We're giving him a clap, and he was giving him a good clap back. So it's nice to see that.
It's fantastic to see the Everton fans, because there's no abuse of Stones. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. I mean, I think it's changed from when Moyes was there and the Julian Lescott situation, because there was booing for Julian, but I think that was kind of drummed up with the way it happened.
Well, I mean, it goes to show you done it. There was John Stones, brought in a lot of money for Everton, but was a fan favourite. Moving to City, they could quite easily have booed him.
Well, I think they respected what he did. They respected his decision.
But then you get the Liverpool fans booing Raheem Sterling.
They don't respect his decision. They don't respect that he's moved on to a bigger...
They don't respect anybody.
Well, that's Liverpool. But as I said, the Stones they respect. And I think it also helps that he's been a changing manager, and the amount of money was so tremendously ridiculous when they thought they were getting a good deal out of £50 million for Stones. Whereas as I go back to Julian Lescott, that caused a bit more animosity about the way it happened. And I think the feeling that Moyes was publicly saying that Mark Hughes had disrespected them or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever. And I think the fans got behind that. Whereas when Stones left, there was none of that animosity, and the fans thought they were getting money for a player to make it.
I mean, I saw with the videos last night. You put out last night. I was filming the team bus, and Stones came off the bus, and there was obviously a police officer who and straight away he shook his hand, and then there were images with him and Arteta in the Everton dressing room with all the some of the players.
Yeah.
It shows there's still that love there for him, which was great, and he gave a big sort of round of applause to the Gladys Street end, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, I think generally, apart from Sterling, City get players from other clubs, generally, I mean, I think Delph gets a bit of abuse as well for the way he left. But, people, are generally treated with a little bit more respect. That's where it should be.
Yeah. I mean, it should be. But anyway, so what that does is put us top of the league, which was great. I mean, lots of songs were going off after the game last night. But yeah, it's all down to Liverpool play Bournemouth at the weekend. That puts a lot of pressure on them now.
Pressure's on them to win.
Yeah.
When you're 7 points clear, you feel, oh, yeah, okay, we can get away with the draw. Okay. And if you're going into a game thinking we can get away with the draw, it's the wrong attitude to go into a game. And the longer the game goes on, it's hard to change mindset.
Yeah.
Now they feel, I hope they feel, every game we've got to win. If you
they do, because that's the mindset City are going into. We've proven it with Arsenal. We've proven it last night in a tough game away at Everton. It's never easy.
What you want Liverpool to feel, and the players to feel, and the club to feel, and the fans to feel, is that City are not going to lose another game this season, and have to win. And that puts pressure on them to go out for a win, and they might end up losing or drawing, because of the pressure. And it was very interesting. I heard, was it Glenn Johnson, the Liverpool left back, and he was talking about on the radio today about the 13-14 season and how bitterly disappointed and how kind of deflated he was when Liverpool lost the title that season, because he said, as players, we thought we'd won it. We thought the way we were playing, it was in the bag, in effect. And don't get me wrong, Liverpool played well at the end of the season. If I remember correctly, in the last 14 games of the season, they won 12 and drew 1. So they had tremendous form. But the players thought they'd won it when they were clear, and it looked semi-unassailable lead. When they needed to lose a game for us to have a chance, and they lost it. You take your eye off the ball, and then the pressure starts to hit you. Now Liverpool have, instead of being 10 points clear, if they'd beaten us on the 3rd of January, now level. They got the game in hand. Let's say they win it, and I'm not looking at Bournemouth getting anything out of the.
But what's interesting is the fact that if they win it, fine, fair enough. But if we beat Chelsea within 24 hours, we go back top again. Yeah. So I mean that's the thing, and when you look at because of that change in fixture that we all moaned about, we all complained about last night. Oh, that's 3 big games in a week, and hold on a minute. The reverse, their game in hand, Liverpool's game in hand is going to be, is against United.
But let's be honest. I'll just say we've got to play United as well at their place.
Oh yeah. But what I'm saying is that what the fixtures, the way it's run now, their game in hand, where we will be in other competitions, that game in hand by the time they're able to catch up will be Man United if both teams win every game from now until then.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, a little bit on social media, you got Liverpool fans complaining that their game in hand is against United and they have to play that weekend. Can you believe it? And I'm not bothered to respond because these guys are melons, absolute balloons. Because if Liverpool had bothered to take the Carabao Cup seriously, that weekend, London.
Yeah.
Like we will cheer on our team. So, stop whinging, stop complaining. It is what it is. You've got to play everybody twice, home and away. The fixtures come up, take it on the chin and move on. They should be happy because we've had to play 3 tough games in the space of 8 days, and they're not. They dipped out of the FA Cup as well. It wouldn't be surprised if they dip out of the, but just to focus on the league.
Dip being the pun.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, we let's not go into the Liverpool rant because they're irrelevant, because it's all about us, Man City. It's about what we do to the end of the season. If we win every game, for me,
we'll win it.
We'll win the league. End of story. Yeah. Even if we lose 1 or 2, I can see Liverpool losing 1 or 2. So I've said it for months. We're going to come back. We're going to win the league. It's simple as that. I didn't care whether it was 7 points or not. We'd still win the league because of our experience. So moves us on to Chelsea. The weekend we'll be there. we've got a guest coming over, haven't we?
Have we?
Oh, I don't know, have we?
South Korea.
From South Korea.
South Korea.
Just hold on a minute. A guest coming over from South Korea.
It's Kim Jong-un's brother, Mike Long.
Mike Long's coming over. Bolt from the Blue podcast. Yeah, he's coming over. He's coming over to see his family in Ireland, but he's coming over to join us at the game. So it'll be great to see Mike. But anyway, I'm going to be chatting to Jan. I need to speak to him tonight, and I'll be doing another sort of pre-match preview with Jan from Yannick on Chelsea.
I've got to love. I'll say it again because you do most of our previews. If I'm contacted by a fan from opposition wanting to do a preview, I always push them your way. Not because I'm lazy or anything, but it's because you do a good preview, and I like to think it was a very innovative. I want to say unique. It was a very innovative idea, concept to put up for this season to meet or to do videos, whether it's on Skype or on our own with opposition fans, and then if they're there at the ground, meet them at the ground as well. So I think that was a very great idea, mate, and it's one of your best.
I mean, I like doing it. I must admit, I like sort of other fan channels. Like I said, I did the one a couple of days ago with Cameron, and then I met him last night at the ground and did a quick video with him beforehand. And it's great sort of chatting to the other fan channels and seeing what they do. And you spoke to Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV outside the Emirates. So, yeah, I mean, I love it. It's great. And, yeah, we're always going to do everything we can. Sometimes clubs have not got, a great fan channel base. The amount of fans, but nobody doing a fan channel thing. Well, so sometimes we can't get an official fan channel.
Yeah. No, but I think just about every game we've got somebody. There's been a couple. Yeah. I think we struggled against Bournemouth.
Yeah, we did.
Really, really struggled against Bournemouth. I contacted them, 15 or 20 people on social media trying to get somebody, and it's just impossible.
And it's surprising.
But they've only got, they've got 12,000 capacity or something. So, you'll find if you try other clubs, I get loads of people wanting to contribute, to be involved. When we played Lyon, I had 5 people from Lyon wanted to get involved. When we played Watford, I had a guy, a Watford fan who's TV presenter in Dubai. He got involved, and I had 2 or 3 others wanted to be involved from Watford. So it's great, and it is good because football really is a fun game, and there's no need for generally this wild animosity towards other fans, because at the end of the day, most of them are like us, decent people who want to see a good game, they want to see their team win, and they want to see good football being played. So we're all the same. We're all in it together, really. Apart from Liverpool fans, we're all in it together.
Apart from them, but anyway, so fingers crossed. I'll be speaking to Jan tomorrow. I'll contact him tonight. Jan's always a really, really interesting guy to talk to. He really, especially about Sarri ball and everything. He knows everything about that side of it. So it'll be interesting to talk to him. Obviously, we're going to have a couple of chats because we've got the Carabao Cup final as well coming up. So I'll contact Jan tonight, have a chat with him, and then maybe tomorrow we can do our usual preview with him and get that out prior to the game on Sunday. Yep. But we'll be there anyway with Mike Long from Bolt from the Blue, and we'll be doing all the usual stuff, putting out loads of interviews. Last night, I apologise. Last night, sorry, and this is for the followers or subscribers of the channel. I had to wait for 1, the ticket, and 2, I was meeting Cameron from the Mighty Blues. So I selected an area which was right outside the William Hill Buckets and the Chippy. And the guy who was coming with the ticket kept ringing me saying, 5 minutes, I'll be there in 2 minutes, I'll be there in... And ended up going into the stadium with my ticket. So I was stood there for over an hour. I spoke to Cameron. But so after the game, I was right up at the top tip. I was right at the back of the stand. Coming out, everybody, I must admit, strangely, City fans just dispersed. He just was vanished last night. And I managed to grab that Chris and a couple of his family members, I'm assuming. But everyone, I even saw Cheesy who stood next to me while I was filming Chris. And he was stood there waiting for, I think there were about 4 or 5 stragglers still left in the stadium. Everyone just seemed to vanish last night. And so I wish I would have been able to get out a bit earlier and get some more City fan interviews. But I'm not sure whether they would have stopped.
I think some of these older grounds, sometimes the fans get out and they disappear very quickly. I mean, when I was at Sampson, the coaches were parked a few hundred meters from when you get out of the ground. And the fans that come on coaches, they've got 10 minutes to get back there. They want to stop and chat. And it's just the, look at the draw.
Especially if you're around Goodison, it's like Main Road. You've got alleyways, you've got this, that, and the other, loads of different roads. So immediately outside the stadium last night, they were like, I don't know, had 5 or 6 people hanging around when I got out, and I was one of the last out of that section, and I asked a few people, I can't, I'm looking for my friend, and I'm gonna go, and so it was a bit of a nightmare last night trying to get some interviews after the game.
I think a few of the comments on YouTube were, comments on YouTube when people saw you on the video outside or on Twitter, asking you to take care of yourself and take care of your alleyway in the dark.
Yeah, there was the road. A couple of cars pulled up next to me, and a couple of windows went down, and I had two cars with guys in it. I don't know who they were. They might have been Everton. They might not have been Everton, but because I was filming walking down that street, they pulled up next door, and both cars they must have been together because they both stopped and the windows went down. And I sort of looked to my left, and there was a load of lads in there, and I'm thinking, there's nobody around here, and I've got another 2-3 minutes until I can get to the car park, and I'll just carry on. Luckily, it was nothing. They never said anything. They just looked at me.
They didn't say how much love.
No, they didn't. But that's what happens. I mean, I'm sure it was all innocent anyway. But those are some of the stadiums, like away fans did at Main Road, trying to get out of there. Yeah, plenty of alleyways and things like that you walk down to try and get back to your car, and you're on your own sometimes. You're not with supporter clubs where there's 20, 30, 40 of you. You're on your own. But it never felt like there was any trouble last night. They were all really nice. I spoke to a few people who didn't want to come on camera, and having a chat to some Everton fans, and it was very relaxed, well policed, and In
the end, the Everton fans didn't mind getting beat. No. They saw the lads put in the effort.
Yeah, and they did last night.
They might not have had the quality, but they saw the lads put in the effort. So probably 90% of the fans left the ground happy.
I actually thought they played well last night. Yeah. I thought they did all right last night, Everton.
Their effort was top notch. They put a lot in. They didn't obviously get anything out of it, but they put the effort in, and that's the minimum you ask for when you go to a match.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's the end of our chat. Like I said, I want to thank Ray for coming on. We're both very busy at the moment, but look out for the videos. Go and check out the videos. Put one on, a vlog. I got back late last night, and I put together a sort of a compilation of clips and things like that, and put it in a match day vlog. That's on the channel at the moment, and we'll put this out straight away tonight, because we're going to focus on the Chelsea game. This game's finished now, so we're going to focus on the Chelsea game tomorrow and everything else that comes with it. So anyway, Ray, thanks very much, mate. The General, and we'll see you soon, Blues.
Cheers, guys.